Amber, you found out about the flood when you were living in Arkansas.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
Well, my husband was born and raised in Harrison, Arkansas, and we have lived there until now for 7 years. And in August, I noticed people were posting lots of pictures on Facebook of their yards with all this water, which it wasn't at that time when they were posting these pictures, wasn't a whole lot, but I mean, it was more than normal. Well, I got up, and of course, normal people, you know, got on my cup of coffee, and I was looking on Facebook, and I saw my friend Madison Reeves posted that her Aunt Donna, who was my piano teacher all through grade school and till I graduated high school, and that they couldn't get a hold of her, and that they knew that her road was flooded. Well, her home is at the very most 1.5 miles down the road. And I'd been there many times to her home because that's where I took my piano lessons at. So she's saying that they can't get a hold of her, and I'm thinking, well, doesn't sound right. And then I knew of another family, the former fire chief, his wife posted pictures and said, you know, they were getting evacuated. I'm thinking, evacuated? So I started watching, thank goodness for social media and things like that. I pulled up an app for the Channel 9, WAV Channel 9 News, and it was talking about the Amite River was going to crest at this number in flood stage. It was well over flood stage already. And in my heart, it kind of panicked, and I'm thinking, this is crazy. And of course, yes, I'm in Harrison, Arkansas, but I spent most of my childhood years here, so this is what I've always called my hometown. And then I'm seeing people post videos and pictures of Denham Springs, and these are places that I've walked, that I've been to, and they're covered in water.
And it would have been over your head.
Yes, because I'm only 5'4". But we knew, being 10 hours away, we were pretty much helpless. I mean, we were helpless. We couldn't do anything. It's not like we could stop the floodwaters. So,
or even get to them.
Oh, exactly. Even get to them fast enough to get them out. Because that's what first reaction was. Annie's like, well, we're here and the kids are at the house. And I'm thinking, well, I'll come get your kids. I'll come bring them home with me. And then they're out of the way and they're definitely safe. And Annie told me, you can't. She said, the roads are flooded. You couldn't even get here. It was so hard to fathom. I'm watching the videos. I'm seeing these pictures. But it just seemed like a bad dream. Because I already knew all these people were here, and my nieces and nephews were here. And I mean, the people that I love, people I grew up with. I mean, I've known Kevin. We've known each other since we were little kids. I've known Brother Skeeter since I was a little girl. And I was just thinking about all these people, and I felt guilty too, laying in my bed dry, and my kids are safe, and I truly have no care in the world technically. I mean, everything's fine in my little world. But in my other world, people are in distress. So I called the church phone, and they picked up. So I was so excited to hear her voice. And it's just like a breath came in, and I just knew everything was going to be okay. But she said that the waters were going down, but they were supposed to get more rain. And she told me then that they were out of food. They didn't have anything left. And they had already raided my mom's deep freezer. And I knew if they had already taken all the food out of my mom's cabinets and deep freezer, and they didn't have any more food, they didn't have any more food, because, my mom always keeps everything stocked, even if she's going out of town. We got ready for church and went to church, and when we came in, of course, our pastor had been watching the news, and his name is Jamie James of Ozark Baptist Church. And of course, he asked me how I was doing that morning, as he normally does when people walk in, and I couldn't even speak to him because I just started crying. I walked to the nursery, took my son to the nursery, William Henry, and I stayed in there, and my husband Jamie proceeded to tell our pastor what was going on. And he said, well, should we send them some money? And Jamie said, there's no point. There's nothing. Money's not going to do them any good. There's no grocery stores to go to. They're all flooded. They're all underwater. And he said, well, we'll just have to pray and figure something out. Well, in between that time, Jason had got a hold of Jamie and said, if you get the stuff, I can get you here. And Jamie said, okay, I'll get the stuff. Of course, we didn't know how we were going to get the stuff, but as soon as Sunday school was over, we told our pastor, he said, okay, we've got a trailer out there. We're going to send y'all to Walmart and fill it up. But we ended up buying so much stuff that we needed a bigger trailer. Because they just said, they sent us to the church. The church voted that we could fill the trailer up or send them a trailer full. Well, the head deacon of our church, his name is Brother Robert Morrow, he went and spoke to a manager at Walmart and got a Walmart lane dedicated just to us. And during Sunday school hour, between Sunday school hour and main service, a couple of my friends, they have small children too, and we were in the nursery with them, and we were on our phones making grocery lists. And of course they had already asked anybody that could go grocery shopping with me to meet me at Walmart. And I already had a few people tell me they would be there, but I really didn't know how much help I would have. And I walk in. Sorry.
That's okay.
The people that were there are people that I've known most of my life. And I've known the 8 years Jamie and I have been together. And I always knew they had my back. But it's one thing for someone to tell you that they're there for you. And it's another thing for them to actually be there for you. And not just for you, for the ones that you love. And I walked in, there was about 24 people that love me and went to church with me to help me shop. And they had carts and were ready. We had so many people there. I mean, people looked at us funny because it looked like we were taking over Walmart. And I got a hold of a manager in the grocery department because I needed so much. I was clearing off shelves. Mm-hmm. So I would just tell them what I wanted, and then they would send it to the front. Like, I was thinking, we need bread. So they started sending pallets of bread up front and pallets of water. Instead of, we'd actually set out and we put a number of items on how much to get. Well, then they're like, this doesn't seem like enough for so many people. So what we did was we literally just started clearing shelves. Like if there was 15 toothbrushes, we took them, and then the next set, we had totes full. And so finally what we just started saying was, fill the tote with as much of that product as you can. And that's why we needed a bigger trailer, because we had overfilled it. We filled up Suburbans and pickup trucks and drove it all to the church so they could unload it in the little trailer that we already packed to the brim and then store it in this new trailer. And there was about 12 or so, maybe more, guys unloading trucks and loading up this trailer. And Jamie had already planned to go, and Jason Kennedy, who's one of our deacons, and then one of our other deacons, his name is Richard McDermott, and then a young man in our church, he's actually the head deacon, Richard Morrow's son, his name is Jacob Morrow. They all volunteered, because Jamie was going to do it by himself, and they said, well, we'll go with you. So Jamie and Jason tag teamed it down here. So our church service starts at 6 o'clock. They didn't pull out until about 6:30. And before they left...
On Sunday evening.
On Sunday evening, yes ma'am. So we found out Sunday morning what was going on, how we could get here. By Sunday evening, we had a trailer full, and they were going to bring it down. And then my sister Maggie called me up. It was after service, and she said, I've already got beds set up, air up mattresses and beds, and breakfast prepped for the morning. So tell the guys to stop here. She lives about an hour and a half away from Denham Springs. She lives in Brookhaven. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Brookhaven, Mississippi.
Brookhaven, Mississippi. And she knew that they were going to be tired, and it would also give the Waters a little bit more time to go down so they could have a straight shot, get off the Amite exit, and go down Highway 16. Anyway, Jamie and the guys got to Maggie's, and they rested. And, of course, he woke up this morning, the next morning, it would have been Monday morning, and he said, Amber, the humidity is awful. And I'm thinking, oh, no, because, when floodwaters come and things get wet, then mold grows. And I'm thinking, these are just going to be greenhouses for mold and all this bacteria. I talked to Annie, and I called her after I talked to Jamie. And I said, is that enough to help y'all get by until, whenever? And she said, Amber, I've already got all of the stuff that y'all have promised before it was already unloaded. So before it had even arrived, it was already... So I called my pastor, and the original church building is not being used at the moment, and the basement would be a perfect place to take donations. So I called him and I asked him if the church could take donations, and of course he said yes, no problem. I just decided that I was going to go business to business, place to place, and they say if you love somebody, you'll beg, borrow, and steal for them. Well, I did everything but steal, and I wasn't above. I mean, I would sit there and beg people to give me things, and I wouldn't leave usually unless they would give me something, even if it was just a box of napkins. I'd say, okay, thank you. And I would tell people when I go into small, mom and pop businesses, I'd say, I know this seems like a big list. I said, but there's got to be at least one thing on there that you could donate. I said, and if everybody gave a little, it would go a long way. And I would just emphasize to people, what if you woke up one day and your home was covered in 6 foot of water, or you knew that your children, didn't know where their next meal was going to come from. And then my friend Lydia Smith, she said, well, Amber, most people, the first day passing out flyers was very hard and very discouraging because I felt like people didn't care other than what had been donated by the church, which was almost $7,000 worth of stuff. And that seems like a lot, and it is, but when the devastation is so widespread, it's really a drop in the bucket. Mm-hmm. So, Monday I was just kind of discouraged after trying to raise donations because I didn't feel like people were really, giving it. And Lydia said, well, they can't see it. So, because the news media wasn't sharing about it. I mean, the only reason...
And they didn't.
Right. The only reason people knew about it was because of social media. So, I mean, every day I was sharing, during my lunch break, when I was out and about passing donations, during my stops nursing the baby, because she would just sleep in her car seat and cry when she was dirty and hungry, and I'd feed her and change her, and then we'd go on about our way, and I'd carry her into every place we went. And a lot of times I think people gave me donations because they felt sorry for me because I looked so pitiful walking in there with my baby, and they're like, what are you doing out here, And then we had a picture pretty much of downtown Denham Springs where the water was up, and you could see how it used to be and then how it was. And then Lydia had found several other pictures to share so people could see that this wasn't just something we made up. And I just kept going around town. Well, then I had someone call me, and I was speaking to them. He said, well, the reason why I'm calling you is I run a radio station, and I want you to come during my drive at 5 to do a live interview so that you can share. He said, since, national news media is not going to share about it, we'll just do it here. Mm-hmm. So I said, oh, that would be wonderful. And then I had KHOZ call me, and they did an interview right then live over the phone, and they recorded it, and they shared it twice a day. Well, by Wednesday night, we had the basement of the church, which is about as big as my dad's fellowship hall, halfway full. So Monday I'm discouraged, and then of course I'd get to the church every evening after Tuesday night to collect the donations. And then I had like my friend Lydia and my friend Ashley and my friend Melody and my pastor's wife. We would all take turns rotating because we would stay there till 7:30 or 8 o'clock because, people on the way home, they might pick something up and then drop it off at the church. So by Wednesday night, half of the room was filled. And then after I went on the radio stations, the word out, then people really started calling me. I was getting calls from everybody. It would be 8 o'clock at night, and I'd get a call from a number I didn't recognize. And my husband would be like, don't answer it. I'm like, no, because it could be a donation. I remember walking into Dollar General to get a donation, and the manager was just very curt, and she said, we do all of our donations through the Red Cross. That's fine. I wasn't going to stand there and argue with her. I said, well, thank you very much. Can I at least leave this flyer? And she said, yes. So she let me leave a flyer on the counter so that people could see where to bring donations. Well, this lady caught me walking outside, and she said, I don't have much. And you could tell that she probably lived on fixed subsistence. She was a much older lady. She says, but I want to give this $20 cash to help the victims. In fact, Maggie, my baby sister, who lives in Brookhaven, Mississippi, like I said, is an hour and a half, 2 hours away, she was going to go to the grocery store and get a few things together to send down here, but there was nothing to get because people had already cleared it out. People that lived in that area that had family here had already cleared it out.
And that's 2 hours away.
Yes, almost 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because on Monday I was discouraged thinking, God, where are all these people that are supposed to care? And then next thing I knew, it's Friday and the basement was so packed full, it took the guys a couple hours to load the trailer.
So you had another trailer load.
Yes, and then they had another trailer load that they took down there. And it ended up being a horse trailer it was my pastor's horse trailer. I was so busy picking up donations, I could not do it on my own anymore. I called my friend Jacob Morrow. His dad's a deacon at our church. His name is Robert Morrow. And I said, Jacob, I need you to go to Sonic. And then I gave him like 2 or 3 other places. Well, then I called my friend Keisha Alexander and her husband Joe Alexander. And they went to the hospital auxiliary in our town. They donated clothes. And see, the hospital auxiliary is very particular about what they will receive. So everything they had received was already in good condition. And they had already washed it. So it was ready to arrive, and if it needed to be distributed immediately. It was like a ripple effect. It's like I threw a rock in the water, and then it hit something else, and then it just kept going. And I mean, it wasn't, I say I threw a rock on the water, but it wasn't me on my own. I mean, like I said, my friend Lydia Smith and Josh Smith, and it was a collective group, And then our friend Justin, who had originally donated the trailer, he had said, after Brother George took a load, he said, if y'all end up getting more and you need my trailer, you can take it anytime you want. And then there was businesses, like I said, Pippin Wholesale, that donated things. It was just crazy because Harrison is a very small town, but even 10 hours away, people cared and were willing to donate and give. And so after Monday, I had a lot more faith in humanity. And I was like, people care, God, God has touched the hearts. But it was just amazing to see. And I talked to Annie, and she said they had so many trailers coming in, and they were running out of room to store it. And then my dad called me. He said, quit taking donations. We're at a good spot now, and everything's starting to work out. So for the next couple of weeks, I would have people call me, and I'd just say, we'll just send them a check. And I'd give them the address, and they would just mail checks to the church to be distributed to whomever needed it.